Hello guys, welcome to the part 3 of my Python crash course. My name is Steven from WebMucho. Now if you joined in the last video, we looked at some Python key topics. Okay, so we talked about data collection, where we looked at lists, tuples, we looked at search dictionaries, and then the various methods that applies to them. Then also we talked about conditions. So we look at if else, we look at for loops, we look at do while loops, and we do while loops in Python. And then we tried our hands on some examples, and then lastly we looked at functions. Okay, so we looked at how we can create our own functions, how we can pass data to functions, and then finally we look at lambda. Okay, so now in this video we are looking at some more advanced concepts in Python. Okay, so we are going to talk about classes and then objects. Then we will try and create our own classes and then objects. Then we'll look at inheritance. Okay, so how your class can inherit from another class. Then finally we are going to look at modules. Okay, so where we would create in our own modules and then use, and then we also look at some working with some imported modules. Working with system modules and then some other modules like the maths modules. Okay, so I encourage you to join this video from the start to the end. You can watch my previous video, the part 1 and then part 2, if you are totally new and then you want to continue from where to just get abreast, or maybe like just to revise the previous topics. But like I said, if you are already into Python, you know what you are doing, then just follow this video and then let's get along. So guys, what are classes? What are objects? Okay, so whenever we talk about Python, everything in Python programming, it's a class. Okay, so consider see class as the design, as a blueprint, as a concept that will enable us to be able to produce or to develop, to create our objects. So take a look at a building. Okay, so before you can put up any structure, you need a blueprint. Now when you have the blueprint, it is possible that you can build the same kind of building out of that single blueprint. Talk of a phone. Okay, so once the designer is done designing the phone and then how the phone is going to look like, the various components, various parts of the phone, then it's possible to develop several phones, which in this case are objects, out of the design, which is our class. So objects are created out of classes, and then the class serves as the blueprint based on which we create our object. Objects can take their properties or their attributes from the class. So once you design, you create your class, and then you give the various properties or attributes of the class, then every object that you create would have or will inherit the properties or the attributes of the class. It is also possible to have an object that may have some additional properties or attributes which will be different from another object of the same class. Okay guys, so we are going to create this country profile app in Python, and then basically what we are doing is that within our code we will create a class called country, and then out of the class country we can create several objects like Ghana, Nigeria, and then so on. So to get started, I'm going to delete the code here. So whenever we run the code, it prints the country name and then it prints information about the country. And these information like West Africa, Accra, population, value, and then currency, okay, are attributes that we are going to pass in our object here. Okay, so let me delete my code and then let me also delete this, and then let's start from scratch. So I'll create a class called country. Then I'll create my init function. So I've explained to you that the init function is run anytime, or it's executed anytime we create our object. Okay, so every attribute or property that I want to be called whenever we create the object has to be passed in the init function. Okay, so basically this is just going to print okay, so it's going to print this statement here. So country colon, okay, then country name, and then profile. Good. So because we have created this, we'll use this attribute. Okay, we need to pass it in the init method. So name, and then we have to create self.name to represent the name attribute. Okay, and that's that for the init function. Okay, so we can test our code. So I'll create country1, okay, is equals to our class country, and then I need to pass the name attribute. Okay, so that's going to be Ghana. Okay, and yeah, so let's run our code and let's see what happens. Okay, so we get country. Okay, so we have country Ghana. So I will just take this profile. It doesn't really make sense. Okay, and then I can run again. So we have country, okay, Ghana. Great. So I would comment this code out. Now the next thing that we are going to do is that we are going to create another method. Okay, so this method has to be called when you create the object. It's not like the init function that gets called whenever you create your object. So I'll call this method info. And then basically what info is going to do, info is going to take some properties, some arguments. Okay, so we already have the name there, so we are not going to pass the name again. So we'll need region. Okay, so I'll say region first, then capital of the country, then we would have population, and finally we are going to have currency. So we'll have currency. Okay, now so we are going to print this statement. Okay, so we are going to say print, and we are going to use this special feature here called the format. Okay, so format, so I want to be able to format my string such that I can pass directly these attributes into my function and then avoid a lot of, you know, a tedious process of using escape characters and then so on. So to make that very easy, okay, I'm just going to add a format here. So if you need to, you know, create very complex formatting strings, I mean complex formats, okay, formatting string, so I'll just say this is what I'm going to print. So I would say Ghana. Sorry. So yes, so the first, I'm going to demonstrate the format. Okay, so you just have this curly bracket. Okay, and then you can pass the name. Okay, so self.name, you can pass self.name, okay, directly within the bracket. Okay, so that's going to be as Ghana or whatever is located in, okay, and then you can say region. Okay, so that will be for the second argument. So you can say its capital is, and then you would say capital. Okay, then you can say it has, okay, so it has, I can just move downwards, so enter. It has a population of, okay, population. So with our ID, okay, with PyCharm, we don't need to have this back slash to escape and move to a new line. Okay, so we can just do enter, and then it's going to format it properly for us. So it has a population of, and then I pass population. Then lastly, I would say the official currency is, and then I'm going to pass currency. Good. So self.name is located in that region passed. Okay, so it's located in, and then I'm going to add region. Okay, so Ghana is located in maybe Western region. Okay, so its capital is blah blah. So yeah, so I have this. Okay, and to see or to demonstrate to you the result, I'll need to create an object. So I'll uncomment this. So my first object is called Ghana. So C1 country 1 is equals to country Ghana, and then of course we know that this is what we get when we run this code, or when this object gets created. So now we want to be able to apply the info method on our object so that we can print the profile of our country. So to do that, I'm going to say C1, okay, dot, and then once I do dot, I can have access to the attributes, okay, that are within the country class. So it's going to be info, and then you can see that we have all these 4 arguments, but thankfully Python already takes care of this self argument, which we don't need to provide, and then we need to provide region, capital, population, and then currency. So to that, let's say .info, okay, and then yeah, so let's say I'll run my program, okay, and I get an error. So info missing 4 required positional arguments, region, capital, population, and then currency. Okay, so whenever you create an object that requires an argument, okay, whether for the constructor or init function or for your own method that you create, then you need to make sure you pass the argument. And so we are going to do that, and then we'll say region is Western. So Ghana is in Western, okay, and then capital is Accra. Population, we would say 30 million, okay, or I can just, let me just do 30 million in figures, so 9 zeros. 7 zeros. Okay, then finally currency is the Ghana cedis. Okay, Ghana cedis. Good. So I have created my first object, so I'm going to create second object. Okay, so I'll say C2 is equals to country, and then we have Nigeria. Of course, Nigeria is our neighboring country. They are our brothers. Okay, our sister country. So C2 dot info. Okay, and then we are going to say Nigeria is also in the west, and its capital is Abuja. Its population is quite over 120 million. So 120, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I want to use the figures. Okay, and then its currency is the Nigeria naira. The Nigeria naira. Okay, so I would change this. Okay, I'll just do it like this. So 30 30 million. Okay, so it's going to be string. Okay, so that means, yeah, it's going to be string, and then we'll have this. Okay, 120 million. Good. So now let's run our code and see what happened. Okay, so our code runs successfully. Country Ghana. Ghana is located in western region. Okay, so what I'll do is this: instead of region, I'll say Africa. So western, okay, Africa, and then instead of western, I'll just say west. Okay, so West Africa makes more sense. Good. So let's run my code again. So yeah, country Ghana. Ghana is located in West Africa. Its capital is Accra. It has a population, so it has a run the code again. So Ghana is located in West Africa. Its capital is Accra. It has a population of 30 million. The official currency is Ghana cedis. And then we have country Nigeria. Nigeria is located in West Africa. Its capital is Abuja. It has a population of 120 million. So guys, this is objects and classes in its basic form. Inheritance. So the whole idea of inheritance is that I have one class called the child class, and this child class can inherit properties or methods from another class called the base class. So what it means is that whatever common attributes or methods that I have in the parent class, I don't have to recreate them in the child or dependent class. So let's see this in action. So we are going to create a cycle class, and then we'll create two other classes, motorcycle and then a bicycle class, and then we want these to inherit this info method here. So every bicycle, every cycle, whether it's a bicycle or a tricycle, okay, has its own information, like the name, the number of wheels, the brand, the mode. Okay, and we don't want to recreate this thing anytime we create a new cycle, a new class, and this is what we are going to do using inheritance. So I will delete my codes. Okay, I'll create a class, my parent class, and then I'm going to call it cycle, and it will not, it will have an init function which will not do anything, so I'll just say pass. So next I am going to create a method, and then I am going to say info, So info. Now this method is going to this info method is going to take the following arguments. Okay, so it's going to take the type, so the type of cycle. Then it's going to take brand. Then it's going to also take number of wheels, and then finally it's going to take the mode. Okay, so type, whether it's a tricycle, whether it's a bicycle, is going to take brand. So the brand may be Yamaha, Kia, and so on. Then it's going to take number of wheels, whether it's 2 or 3, and then the mode, okay, whether it's engine or manual powered. So I am going to print this info. Okay, so the way that I want to do this is that I want to be able to, use the attributes here within my string. Okay, so I'm going to use the format, okay, so that I can introduce this, okay, into my string. So I'm just going to say that this is, and then I'm going to pass in the type, so whether it's a tricycle, a bicycle, and so on. So type, okay, this is a, then I'll say it's manufactured, so the brand is manufactured by, and then I'll have the brand, okay, then I'll say it has, then the number of views, okay, and finally I would say, okay, so I think I omitted this, so number of views, so omitted a number of views, and then finally I would say it is, okay, mode powered, so whether it's engine or it's manual. Okay, great. So I already have my info method created now. So now let's go ahead, and then I'm going to create my first class. So I would say I'll call it bicycle, okay, and then I can also give it an init, okay, I'll give it an init, okay, method, and then I would also say pass, okay, then I can do that for I would say motorcycle, and then I would also do the last one for tricycle. Good. So okay, so now I have created my classes. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to create an object, okay, for each class, and then I would apply the info method on each of the objects. Okay, so first I am going to create a class for, an object for bicycle, so b1, okay, bicycle 1, and then I will call it will belong to class bicycle, okay, and then I want to apply the info method, so dot info. Great. So of course I cannot miss this. Now we are talking about inheritance, okay, and then I've talked about the fact that a class, that is a child class, has to inherit from a main class, and the way we do that, okay, is to pass the name of the class right after the class, the child class, okay, in as an argument. So it's going to be cycle, as I have done. Then I have to do the same for motorcycle, and then the same for bicycle. So when you inherit, okay, from your parent as a child, okay, you take something that belongs to your parent, okay, as your own. Okay, so that's the whole idea of it. So now that I have inherited from the cycle class, now I can apply any method or attribute that belongs to the main class. So I will just do this b1 dots, and now notice that I have the info. Okay, so now I have to pass 3 arguments. Okay, so I have to pass 3 arguments. Okay, so I think the idea of using this won't be very helpful, okay, because this is a keyword in Python. So I'll just do type underscore. Okay, so I don't have to use the type keyword, okay, in Python, because that could create confusion. So maybe I'll just say type cycle. Okay, and I think this should make sense. Okay, so I don't have to contradict myself by using the type keyword. So I'll just do type underscore cycle. Okay, that should make sense. Okay, so now I'm going to pass the type. So I'll just say this is a bicycle, and then after type I think I will need brand, number of views, and then mode. So brand, it's I'll say Kia. Okay, number of views I would say 2, and then mode I would say manual. So manual powered, manual. Okay, so that's for bicycle. Then I'll create for motorcycle. I'll say M1, and then I'll just say motorcycle. So the class is motorcycle. Okay, and then I would also say M1 dot, and then so I'll just copy and just paste this, and then I'm going to change. So M1. Okay, so bicycle. So M1 will be motorcycle, moto, okay, cycle. Okay, so this bicycle, okay, so Kia, and then this motorcycle will be manufactured by Benz. Okay, and then the number of views is 2, and the mode, okay, is going to be engine. Then let me do lastly for tricycle. Okay, so this is going to be T1. Okay, so tricycle, and then this is going to be a tricycle. Okay, and then T1, and then it's going to be manufactured by Yamaha, and then it's going to have 3, and then it's going to be, let's say, dual. Okay, so it can be either manual or engine powered. So dual. Okay, and okay, so yeah, so now let's run our code and let's see what happens. So our code has run successfully. Okay, so we have first line. Okay, this is a bicycle. It is manufactured by Kia. It has 2 wheels. It is manual powered. Okay, coming from this line of code, notice that this doesn't, the init, okay, this is also inherits the init of the cycle, but because we say pass, it won't actually do anything. Okay, but the moment we apply the info, and we provide the 4 arguments, then our code will run successfully. Okay, so notice that we've been able to inherit, okay, from a base class, so that we don't need to to reproduce this same line of code anytime we create a new class. Okay, so yeah, so basically this is a fundamental introduction to inheritance in Python. Okay guys, so up to this point we've looked at classes, we looked at inheritance, okay, and all this approach, it's a way to make our coding easy, to make our code clean, and make it easy to debug. So as your code keeps increasing in size, then maintaining everything within a source file, within one file, okay, it's going to make it difficult at some point to be able to debug, or to debug, and without having to affect the other code. So now the whole idea is this: I want to be able to break my program, okay, into separate files. So let's say I want to create a calculator, okay, then my calculator is going to have a component for doing scientific calculations. It's going to have another component for doing financial calculations. It's going to have another component for doing basic calculations, okay. So I want to separate these components of my calculator into what we call a module. So what's a module? A module is basically a Python file, okay, that contains your code to do something specific. So for a whole program, I can break it into these various modules and then have it run. So let's get started with an example. Okay, so within my file, okay, so notice that I don't have anything. So I'm going to create a calculator application, and then I want to be able to have various modules, okay, to to perform the various aspects of my calculator. So I'm going to create a science module to perform to handle the tasks of calculating for mass, weight, pressure, speed, velocity. So I'm going to have a function for each of these calculations, okay, each of these operations within my science module. So I'll go ahead and then I'll create a new file. So it's going to be a Python file, and then I'm going to call it scientific. Okay, good. So we are within my scientific, okay, so my scientific module. So this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to create one function, okay, to calculate for mass of an object, okay, and this is going to take 2 arguments. So volume, okay, it's going to take volume and then density. So volume and then density. And then it's going to return, okay, it's going to return volume times density. So now I'm going to create another function. So I'm going to create another function. I'm going to create another function, and then this is going to be weight, okay, and then it's also going to take mass and then gravity. So the formula of which is mass times gravity, and then this is also going to return. So I use the return keyword to to return a result. So return mass times gravity. So next I'll create another function and I'll call this pressure. Okay, so that's also going to take two arguments, force, okay, force, and then area. Okay, so I need to provide a semicolon here, and then this is also going to return force, okay, divided by area. Then I'll have speed, so speed, okay, speed will also take two arguments, distance and then time. Okay, then this will also return distance times time. Okay, so don't forget your semicolon here. Then finally I'm going to have that for velocity, and then so this is going to take two arguments, displacement and then time. Okay, so hope I have my formulas correct before my physics teacher will come and beat me. So displacement times time. Okay. Okay, so there you go. There you go. Okay, yeah, so so now let's go ahead and then we already saved this. Okay, so you save this as science.py. okay, so I can show you, I have it here. Okay, so we have scientific here. Okay, so now I am going to open my module. So my module, okay, so or let me just say my calculator. Okay, so I'm going to so you can create a calculator first. So from here I am going to import. Okay, so the way you import a module, so which module am I importing? I'm importing the scientific module. So it's just a file containing codes and functions that can help me to perform some calculations. So the way you import is doing the import, using the import state. So I'm going to show you about 2 or 3 ways you can do the import. So you can either do import, okay, and then what am I importing? I'm importing scientific. So I'm importing scientific. Okay, so once I import scientific, then I can go ahead and then use scientific. Okay, so I can just say print, and the way you access a function within a module is by just saying scientific dots. Okay, and then you can say mass. Okay, so mass. Okay, so mass takes 2 arguments. Okay, the volume and then density. So let's say the volume is 100 and then maybe density is 1.89. okay, so let's run this and then okay, so okay, let's try. wait and see. Okay, so I don't know why it's not printing. Okay, so yeah, I think I was running the module which is not my current code instead of my, so I have to reopen the calculator file so that I can work with it. So sorry about that. So that I can import scientific and then I can get it work. So I am able to do for, I can do for, let's say, mass. So I can do print. Okay, then scientific. Okay, so notice that I can call mass. Okay, and then I'll just have to provide the argument. So mass, so let's say mass is 50, and then gravity is 9.8. okay, and then I can get the value for mass as well. Okay, so I can also do for speed. Okay, so let's just say for speed I would need my distance. Let's say distance is equals to 100, or let me say 89, and then time. Okay, time is say 30 seconds. Okay, then I can print. Okay, so scientific dots speed, and then I would need the two arguments. Okay, and then I can run, and then I should get so if I change the value, okay, it should also work. Okay, so yeah, so apart from importing scientific, I can also import it as, okay, a variable. So I can say import scientific as SC. Okay, so that I don't have to always be using scientific. Okay, so instead of scientific, I can just say SC. Okay, and then I should get the same result. Then I can also, just say I can just import. So I can import a function within scientific. So if I just need, let's say, velocity, so I can just say from scientific, then I can say import, okay, velocity. Okay, so I have my distance displacement to be, let's say, 10, and then time it's let's say 40 seconds. Okay, so if I so let's keep the initial, okay, so initial values. Okay, so let's just say this is 50 and then 30 seconds. Now I am importing velocity from the scientific module. Okay, so if I run this code which is calculating for speed, so I have to just, let's just say scientific. Okay, if I run this, okay, I'm going to get an error. Okay, I'm going to get an error because I'm no longer working with speed. I'm only, specifying that I only need this velocity function. Okay, so the only function that I can use is the velocity and nothing else. So let's use, so we can just say velocity. So once I import from the module, okay, I can use what I have imported directly. Okay, so velocity. Okay, so I need to say that this is displacement instead of distance. Okay, so displacement. Okay, and then so displacement, okay, and then I run, and then I should get my results. Okay, so this is how we use modules. Now we've created our own module, okay, but notice that we have inbuilt Python modules. Okay, so like maths. Okay, so import maths, and then we can use the square root function. So print maths dot square root. Okay, and then we want to find the square root of 81, and then we can run that, and then we should get 9. So we can use various math functions. Okay, now we can use this direct, okay, to print all the, so it's a function that can print all the functions and then methods, the methods and then the attributes that we can use, okay, within the math function. So notice that we can use all these floor, factorial, and square roots, so you know which functions you can use within your maths module. So we can as well, call back our calculator scientific module, and then we can print, okay, and see, so the die function, and then we can see all the functions that we created: mass, pressure, speed, velocity, and then weight. So guys, this is how we work with modules in Python, and I hope you guys have learned a lot, and I'm sure this should kind of like round up my crash course. And yeah, I'm not ending it there. I'm going to go deeper into a lot of Python topics and then concepts. Okay, so apart from making it a crash course, I'm sure we may want to go deeper into classes and objects, go deeper into modules, go deeper into a whole lot of things. Okay, so subscribe, and then see you in another video. Bye.